Woman at War, out in cinemas now, an Icelandic French Ukrainian co production. And it's such an odd film. It's been a while since I had watched such a movie where not only during the film, but even after it, I needed to just give myself some headspace and some time to decide what am I even thinking about it. Especially as based on the trailer, I expected a sort of dark comedy, and the actual result, while certainly deliberately funny at times, I would rather describe as a character study or even a character adventure, if you will. So it's the story of Halla, a middle-aged Icelandic woman who lives alone, teaches music to a choir. However, what she's really passionate about and driven about is the natural environment, and even more specifically, the human impact on it. So the movie opens with a scene where Hatla is out in the wilderness and shoots an arrow from a bow over the power lines, then uses that arrow to drag a steel line over the power lines, causing a massive outage. We soon learn that she does that to sabotage the local steelworks, and that it's not the first time. She also has other things going for her. On the one hand, this one woman crusade. On the other, she's got a twin sister that teaches yoga, and she also learns that after 4 years of waiting and seemingly having already given up, she's up for adopting a child, a young girl from Ukraine. All throughout it, there's also the soundtrack, which I have to mention because it is done by a small brass band that always actually appears on the screen in the background or sometimes even in the foreground of the shots, breaking the fourth wall. And also, there's a small subplot involving a Colombian tourist in Iceland, which is by far the funniest part of the film. All of those things, seemingly unconnected at the beginning, start to come together more and more closely as the movie progresses, and as it does, it also becomes more and more apparent what the movie isn't. So it's not, as I said, a straight dark comedy. Neither does it offer a sharp political commentary on either side of the argument. I read some comments on the internet where people were actually disappointed that the movie doesn't take a stance on the environmental plot. It doesn't try to be a political manifesto, but it also doesn't shame the main character or only laugh at her for having those views. So it makes it very clear that while Hadla herself is an extremely smart and capable woman, she's in a lot of ways misguided and doesn't fully consider the consequences that her actions may have. And I actually liked the movie for it. I think it's a smart move here because instead of taking one side of the argument and alienating half of the audience, it chooses to instead focus on other things. The environmental plot is actually not the core of the film. The character of Hatla is. Her views, her actions, her motivations are the emotional center of the film. And in that way, the movie really makes it work. It treats her and the other characters with respect and kindness. It actually reminded me a little bit of Hunt for the Willow People, which is another movie with similar approach to its story, and also with a lot of the great outdoors being shown on the screen. This movie uses the beautiful, vast exteriors of Iceland to a great effect. The main takeaway, though, is that you shouldn't read this film as any sort of political statement again. So it isn't that, not even close. It's more of an examination of a character who does have strong political agenda. But the question we're interested in here is why does she do it? What are her motivations? What kind of a person she is at the bottom of all this? And for that, I really like the film. I think it does perfectly, almost perfectly, what it sets out to do, and it has real heart in it. It's an odd film, yeah, but a good one.